23-year-old Caitlin Conley is charged with second-degree murder in the fatal poisoning of her boss, Mary Yoder. The Oneida County Courthouse is packed as opening statements begin in this sensational murder trial that rocked the quiet upstate New York City of Utica.
And I'm telling you right here and now that this case is entirely about motive.
And Caitlin's defense attorney, Christopher Pelley, claims only one person had the motive and means to kill Mary Yoder.
The decedent's husband. It's hard to swallow, but it's there.
That's right, Bill Yoder, the same man who cops began looking at after he went suspiciously absent from their business on the day Mary became ill. The defense claims Bill likely laced Mary's protein shake that morning before work, and that's why he avoided the office that day.
Bill is brilliant. He's a two-time PhD. He's a highly intelligent man. He's a detailist. He has motive.
Motive, according to the defense, in the form of an alleged illicit affair with Mary's older sister, Kathy Richmond.
We found out that there were several witnesses that placed Kathy and Bill together prior to Mary's passing, including her neighbor.
And there's something else the defense claims directly connects Bill to the toxin that killed his wife.
Superweed, as the defense called it. Killer weed.
Killer weed.
During the 80s, it was acknowledged that there was a mixture that was used. He said Mary came up with this mixture that was used to enhance the growth of plants. Exactly what colchicine would do if it was used to grow marijuana. All you have to do is go on the internet and look that up.
In fact, the defense claims Mary likely ordered this drug, never knowing that it would be one day used to kill her. But prosecutor Laurie Lisi claims Bill had nothing to do with it. She says it was all Caitlin, and the motive for murder is pure and simple: revenge. Basically, that after Adam broke up with the defendant,
Caitlin was a woman scorned. She wanted to try to get back at Adam by killing his mother.
But two of Mary's own sisters adamantly disagree with the prosecution.
We thought she was being framed.
Do you believe Caitlin Conley is responsible for your sister's death?
No, not at all.
And after 3 weeks of testimony and 5 days of deliberations, the defense is able to create enough reasonable doubt to leave jurors hopelessly deadlocked. The judge is forced to declare a mistrial.
The family's through a lot, but we're strong and we know she's innocent.
But prosecutors don't let the charges drop, and 5 months later, Caitlin Conley is back on trial for murder. Then, a huge gamble. Right before the start of Caitlin's second trial, her family hires a new attorney.
Mary Yoder died from colchicine poisoning. That's true. And that's the only thing that will be proven in this case.
And what's more, a bold and risky move by Caitlin's defense team when they completely changed their defense strategy. This time, her new attorney, Frank Policelli, plans to abandon the theory that Mary's husband did it, and instead, he points the finger squarely at Mary's son and Caitlin's ex-boyfriend, Adam Yoder.
This is what the evidence will show.
Adam is a troubled person, and Mary and he had had a falling out.
The defense begins with painting a toxic relationship between Caitlin and Adam, built on codependence and even violence. Mary's nephew, who lived with Adam around the time he dated Caitlin, took the stand to testify to their tumultuous relationship.
You think Katie was a victim of domestic violence at the hands of Adam, allegedly?
And I do.
Also, the defense claimed Adam, not Caitlin, was the one full of revenge, and that he set out to frame her for his mother's murder after Caitlin refused to get back together with him. The defense even enters into evidence text messages from Adam to Caitlin where he appears to be begging her to come back. In one text, Adam writes, "I miss you a lot. I'm thinking about you always." Then, in another text, when Caitlin claims she got pregnant with Adam's baby and terminated the pregnancy, Adam responds, "I'm so expletive torn up and hurt and confused now." Katie writes, "I didn't want to do that alone, and you didn't want to be there." Adam texts back, "You wouldn't have been expletive alone. I'm not a piece of expletive. That decision should have been made by two people either way.
He said he intended to marry her at one point.
These texts from Adam appear to undermine the prosecution's case that Caitlin killed Mary in retaliation after Adam rejected her. Still, the prosecution never wavers from their main theory.
That she was trying to get back at Adam.
But there is one significant thing that prosecutors do change from the last trial to this one. Prosecutors added on the lesser charge of first-degree manslaughter for the jury to consider if they find Caitlin not guilty on the second-degree murder charge. Then, after weeks of testimony, jurors begin deliberations, and they request to take another look at a moment captured on police interrogation video.
Adam told you that he did this to his mother?
Where an investigator asks Caitlin why she believes Adam would keep the poison in his car that would directly link him to the crime.
I think he would keep it if he wanted to use it for something else. Right, but guys also don't use poison. They say it's babies for him.
Jurors wonder if it's a curious statement or guilty slip of the tongue. Either way, they don't seem to be buying the new defense that Adam is the real killer. Instead, they appear to side with the prosecution's presentation of electronic evidence against Caitlin, including incriminating searches and transactions captured on the defendant's cell phone and computer.
The cell phone, the computers, and all those things that were forensically examined, those are what the prosecution really relies on and says that realistically, reasonably, who else would have been using these devices to look up the poison, to create the letter of intent.
The evidence is clear, and that the common denominator is this defendant, Caitlin Conley.
The now 24-year-old Caitlin Conley is found guilty of first-degree manslaughter. But before sentencing, Caitlin's defense attorney makes a final plea for the verdict to be thrown out, claiming prosecutors did not prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt that Caitlin poisoned Mary.
You cannot prove that on July 20th, 1:15 in the afternoon, at the business of the chiropractic, Caitlin Conley poisoned Mary Yoder. It's not there and never will be there, and the jury's verdict was irrational, and you should set aside the verdict. Thank you.
Then it's time for victim impact statements. Mary Yoder's son and Caitlin's ex-boyfriend, Adam Yoder, has a few choice words for his former flame.
I introduced Katie Conley to my family. And because I loved her, and they all accepted her and treated her as family, as blood. Make no mistake, I hate the defendant. With every bone in my body and every drop of blood in my veins, I hate Caitlin Ann Conley because Caitlin Ann Conley murdered my mother.
And Mary's husband of 40 years, Bill Yoder, also addresses the court.
Even with my son, she decided to murder his mother.
And then you could hear a pin drop as Caitlin makes her way to the podium for a final statement to the court before learning her ultimate fate.
With all due respect to the justice system and to our jury system, I'm innocent, but I would like to thank my family and friends and strangers for standing up in support of me.
Support? Yes, and you'll never believe who is in Caitlin's corner.
Dear Judge Dwyer, Mary Yoder was my sister. I am writing to you to plead for mercy and leniency as you decide on Caitlin's sentence.
Coming up,
I've received dozens of letters on behalf of Caitlin Conley.
the judge hands down his sentence. And who does Mary's family think is really responsible?
What I really believe is that both attorneys were on the right track.
The thing that stands out in my mind most of all is those last 2 days of Mary Yoder's life. She went through agony over and over until the end.